Hello, everyone. Welcome to Project Drops. And today we will talk about the right methodology or best practice for development and humanitarian projects. Well, methodology is a system of methods, framework, a logical scheme with principles and disciplines. And a best practice is a method or technique that's generally accepted or preferred to other alternatives because it produces most effective results. However, I don't want to get into the difference between methodology and best practice today. This topic would deserve a webinar just to talk about that. Let's focus on our webinar question. Well, what are the most known or most adopted project management best practices that are available in the market? So what are the most known and most adopted project managers best practices that you can find? Let's take a look at a few that I have selected to share with you guys. I have selected the ICB4, the PMBOK, the Prince2, the Agile, and the Project Pro. The ICB4 is the Individual Competence Baseline. It was created in 1965 in Switzerland by the IPMA, the International Project Management Association. And the ICB4 is focused on project manager competence. The ICB4 does not prescribe a method or methodology or a specific process. It is the basis for individual development, for individual learning, for either a project or a program or portfolio manager. The PMBOK is the Project Management Body of Knowledge. It was created in 1996 in the United States by the PMI, the Project Management Institute. It is a process-based methodology. It has inputs, tools, and techniques, outputs that you use when you manage your project. The PMI offers guides and certifications for other methodologies or other areas. This is one interesting fact about the PMI. So if you would like to dive into a specific area like risk, schedule, communications, business development, the Prince2 is the project in controlled environments, also launched in 1996 in the United Kingdom. It was launched by the Cabinet Office, but nowadays it is managed by it's hosted by the Axelos. And the Prince2 was created based on the prompt. It's Project Resources Organization Management Planning Techniques that was created in 1975. In the 80s, the UK government demanded a solution for common project problems like time, scope, budget. And in 1989, in the UK government adopted the Prompt 2, which became the Prince2 that we know today. The Agile methodologies. Well, the Agile methodologies is a result of a manifesto that was signed in 2001 in the United States. So representatives and subject matter experts, responsible people for the Scrum, the DSDM, the Dynamic System Development Method, the Extreme Program, Adapted Software Development, Crystal, Feature-Driven Development, Pragmatic, several different Agile methodologies. They get together and they sign the Agile Manifesto, which is hosted by the Agile Alliance. And other methodologies have also adopted some of the Agile principles, like the Prince2 Agile, the PMI Discipline Agile Scrum Master. Even the Project Pro are also embedded some of the principles and methods and practices that are present in the Agile. And finally, but not less important, the Project Pro, the Project Management for Development Professionals. It was the Project Pro was first written in 2007, 2008, but it was officially launched in 2010 in Johannesburg and Zambia. So it is hosted by the PM4NGOs, and it's based in principles, techniques, and processes. One interesting fact about the Project DPRO is that it has a specific phase for identification and definition, so the identification of community needs, of the beneficiary needs. And besides, the Project DPRO has an appropriate language for the nonprofit sector. So what is the best, the most appropriated one? What should we say that is the best one? Well, no methodology is better or worse than other methodologies. There is no better, the best methodology when you just ask like that. What we have is a combination of methodologies. Should I pick one? Should I pick all of them? Or should I pick just some of them? Let's look at some examples. Well, let's first think that you have a project to build community houses and infrastructure. You need a methodology, we need a methodology appropriated for construction. Maybe we want to use the PMBOK. But we might need to identify other community needs. We might need to identify what are other needs beyond the infrastructure, something related to the social relationship or even the economic development. So you might want to pick the Project DPRO as complementary or supplementary methodology. Let's get another example. Let's think about developing an application for community-based service delivery. We definitely need a methodology that is appropriate for IT projects, like Agile, PMBOK. But if we want to strengthen the services or the entrepreneurs or the small business that we are creating or helping to create in the community, we might need or we might want to use other methodologies as well. What about a project for child labor reduction and prevention on a community? Well, this is a more clear development project. Project DPRO might be the most appropriated one. It will help you to identify the root causes, to address the children, the family, the local business changes that we would like to motivate or to work with. And what about a humanitarian response after a natural disaster? Again, Project DPRO might help you to identify the community needs, but since everything is urgent, since things change rapidly, you might want to use agile methods that can be used due to this nature of the disaster context. So although PM DPRO, Project DPRO has embedded some agile principles, you might need specific tools to help you move fast because of the context. So one or many methodologies might be the right one. However, as a professional, should I just pick parts of each methodology for my development or for my team? A project might need just a few tools, a few techniques of one or more methodologies. But as a project manager, we must know the methodology completely, comprehensively. We all the methodology, more than one methodology, but we should know, we should get to understand the full picture of that methodology, all techniques, how they are combined to each other, how they interact with each other. For example, I can't implement an agile deployment process or phase without understanding how agile defines the team roles and the responsibilities. I can't create KPIs to use on the PMBOK project performance and control processes without going through the conception, initiation, and definition phases. Or even I can't create a Project DPRO log frame or logical framework without understanding the identification of the community needs. without looking at the problem and objective trees, the assumptions, the risks, the stakeholder management. But wait a minute, it's going to be a little bit difficult to become like super project managers with many certifications. Of course, some project managers that are dedicated on managing projects might be able to get many certifications, but you can compose your team with different knowledge and different certifications. You don't have to be certified. You don't have to know in depth all the methodologies. If your project, for example, is mainly focused on the, let's say, if your project is mainly focused, for example, on technology, you can choose a PMBOK or Agile expert to support you while you are Project Pro certified, as long as you're working with community development. So it's a community development, but involves technology. You can get someone that has a more appropriate methodology knowledge for that specific work that you're going to be doing with the community. Or let's say, for example, if you are have a corporate project. If you have a corporate project and you want to construct a new production facility, but that might impact a nearby community, you might choose the PMBOK because it's a construction of the facility, but you might need a DPRO expert to support you because there's going to be an impact on that community that is surrounding the area that you're going to be constructing that facility. In summary, what is the need of your project? So what does your project need in terms of techniques? Study and compose your team with a comprehensive knowledge of one or more methodologies. Select the tools, techniques, and the methods that we will be using. And obviously be open to adapt, contextualize, be flexible with what works and what doesn't work in terms of tools or in terms of techniques that are going to be used on your project. So as you develop the projects, you might get to understand what are the best tools or the best techniques for the kind of implementation intervention that you are managing. I can see that there are a few questions here. One question is, which certification should I choose for my career? So, well, that depends on which career you would like to develop. So, let's say that you would like to develop a career on the nonprofit sector. I would say that Project Pro might be the most appropriate one. Or if you want a career on the IT sector, you might decide to use a Prince2 or a PMBOK or Agile methodology. But if you work with community development, you might want to also use Project Pro as supplemental or vice versa. So it depends on what your career, what area do you want to work at? And there is another question here is it recommended that all members of the project team get certified? Well, you should choose one methodology for your organization, for your project. So you should develop a common language among the members of your project or your team or your organization. That helps you when someone talks about risk management, when someone talks about log frame, stakeholder and communications plan, everyone knows exactly what you're talking about. Everyone has the same common language. And you might want to have a standard for your organization. But not all team members should be certified. For them, individually, getting a certification is good for their career, for their profession, but it is important that they all know or that all use or adopt the same language, the same terminology. Well, this was our today's project drop. So let's see if there is any questions on the additional questions in the chat. I would like both. Yes, Shaya, maybe it was the link that you should refresh. And I see there are some people from Sudan, Brazil. That is great. Thank you, everyone, for taking this time to be with us and to share a little bit of knowledge. And thank you for attending our project drops today. You can download the project deploy and all guides from PM4NGOs for free. You can use the QR code that you see in front of you. And you can also access our website and download the guides. And please feel free to reach us out, send suggestions, recommendations for future webinars. We will be having a project drops every Thursday at the same time. So I see you all next Thursday. Thank you so much, and see you next week.